senior home business. I'm in the dentist. Oh my gosh. Who loves going to the dentist? Fortunately, it's just a teeth cleaning. But man, she's got a list of things she's got to do on my teeth. But you know what? Sometimes there's a list of things we've got to do in our own lives, in business, personally. Work on yourself. There was a time when I was going to the gym every day, things like that. I'm still watching what I'm eating and making sure I'm just not shoveling in a bunch of junk food and stuff like that. Stay energized. You got to stay energized in what you're doing in life. Man, I love the senior placement business. Love TSL. Love all my students in 35 different states. If you've ever thought about doing something at home, man, just consider being a senior placement agent. I mean, it's not for everybody. I understand that. And I understand when I talk to people about working with the elderly, and some of them go, oh my gosh, man, I would never work with the elderly. And plenty of people, placement agent, you're not just, being responsible for medication and making sure somebody gets in bed and not slipping and, pulling a muscle or straining their back or anything like that. That's not what you're doing. You're actually helping seniors get into the appropriate senior community. It could be an independent community, could be a memory care or assisted living, and you're helping. But you need to understand the process. You got to understand lead generation. You've got to understand how this business works. Business has been going on for a long time, and you may have heard me say on this channel, that this business has been around since the mid '90s. That's actually true. And around 2015, it seems like a lot of the people got in the industry. I got in the industry in 2018, or at least as a senior placement agent. I was working with a large community about that time. And then there's a lot of things that happened with COVID, man. COVID just kind of threw us for a loop, right? I mean, it just created ruckus on everybody's lifestyle. 6 feet apart, wear a mask, and can't go here and can't go there. And that was absolutely true with the senior living game. And so a lot of your senior placement agents went into online mode. So they started doing online tours and online meetings and all that. And then when COVID got lifted, all these senior placement agents reverted back to the old times. I'm telling you, you've got to pay attention to the times. You got to pay attention to what's happening in the industry, and what's happening in this industry. It is moving forward. It's going at light speed, and we don't see it because we're comfortable in what we're doing. We're doing 3 to 5 move-ins a month. Some of us are moving 10, and we're just like, this will never change. And I'm telling you, there is multi-billion-dollar companies that things have changed overnight. They went from extremely profitable, thousands and thousands of employees, down to zero overnight. And senior placement agents today, if they don't get in the game and start getting up to speed where this industry is going, they're liable to find themselves out, in the dark. They're going to find themselves just have to do something else, because this game is changing. And that's why we got TSL Technology. So if you want to know more about what we do, it's not going to be on this video, I don't think, because I'm doing this live. But if you want to know more about it, you can click some other videos on the Senior Home Business channel. Click subscribe, like, all that stuff, and then you'll be in the know, man. You'll know what we're doing. But essentially, 3 business. Traditionally, get your business cards, brochures, knock on doors, social workers. Nothing wrong with that. It's the way I started my business. And then you get into online approach, I was just sharing a few minutes ago, doing online meetings, virtual tours, or you can do the TSL Technology. We're the only company that's got the software, the technology to do this right now. It's unbelievable. Families love it. They're able to search for communities based on not only price point, location, but care needs. And they're also able to contact the communities themselves, apart from the senior placement agent. But the senior placement agent still gets paid based on how the thing's orchestrated. So anyway, if you want to know more about that, just hook me up. You can find my number on my Senior Home Business YouTube channel. But I'm telling you, it's a fantastic industry to be involved in. I love it. I know my students love it. I know some people have kind of bounced in, bounced out. Sometimes it does take a loss to you. I mean, if making $30,000 to $60,000 a month is rich, then you possibly could be rich, and there's students that are doing that. If being rich to you is making $10 million a year, this is probably not the business where you're going to generate $10 million a year unless you have multiple employees underneath you and you got multiple regions and states you're overseeing and operating this business. But if you want to make 30 to 60, starting out, I think it's very realistic to make $100,000. Very realistic. My only goal when I started this business was to do $5,000 a month. And when I started doing 5, actually the first month I did 12. I mean, it was like I blew away my original goal the first month. So I was on pace to make $144,000 within the first 30 days, not like in 1 month, but on pace for the year. And so I ended up exceeding that amount. But whether I did or didn't, let's just say I didn't, and I failed, and I didn't get $12,000 on average per month. I kind of got down to 5 or 6, and I made 60 to 75 a year. Some of you would be appreciative of that. I mean, I know I would back in the day. I mean, I was making on average about $75,000 a year, sometimes 85, depends on bonuses and what I was doing. A lot of different things I was involved with sales. So if you had told me I could work out of my house and have my own schedule, do the things that I want to do. Now, there's a work ethic, there's a balance. I understand that. I'm not saying you can be living on the beach and not doing anything and just working 2 hours a week, but you can dictate your schedule and you can work on the weekends, which I encourage you to do to expand your business, expand your brand, and do the things that you need to do to push your business forward. I didn't go into this business thinking, okay, I'm just going to relax. I went into it thinking, how can I dominate? How can I get in this space and not just duplicate what others are already doing in the business, but I went into it going, man, how can I dominate? I want to do something different. So I never tell you to focus on your competition. I think it's a bad approach. I get the idea of seeing what others doing. If it works, then you might want to do something like that. What I did, my approach was I saw what they were doing and I went ahead and started doing the complete opposite. So, give you a couple examples. They were focusing on big box companies, the large communities, which I got contracts, referral agreements with all these communities in my area. Now, not then, but what I did was I started focusing on small communities, residential care homes. And so I started going a completely different direction. I got to a point where I just started doing virtual tours. I started doing virtual tours, online meetings before COVID started. I know that's when the senior placement agents by far started doing it because they had to. I know one particular senior placement agent owns a franchise, and he decided to get out of the business or at least stop his business during COVID. He didn't do any move-ins from March 2020 until like 2021 sometime. He just gave his business a break. He threw his hands up, going, okay, I can't get in these buildings. There's no way I can do the business. I'm just a firm believer you've got to be innovative. You've got to be a person that's going to understand the times and say, you know what, there is a problem. And the problem is COVID. I can't get into the building, but there's a solution behind the problem. So if I keep focusing on the solution, how to get there, I'll get through the problem. But most people in life, as we well know, will focus on the problem and they'll throw their hands up like this one guy did. And so you don't want to do that. You want to innovate. So what really helped me out was when 2019 I started to do virtual tours, online meetings. When COVID did hit, which I had no idea, right? No one did. And but when it did, I was primed and ready to help people online. I had all the virtual tours, I had pictures, all that. All the other senior placement agents were scrambling to get all that information. So if you just start, the point of the story is this: think ahead. And that's why we're 2025. Don't think this business is going to be like this come 2030. I guarantee you it's going to be completely different. And it saddens me that franchises out there actually teach this business from an old perspective, from a 2015 perspective. And they're not even with the times right now. There's a lot of people that I've taught and are a part of my students that continue to do business the old-fashioned way. And I'm okay with it because that's the way I started. But I would encourage them, employ them to make changes. Whether you get in TSL or not, that's up to you. But make changes. You've got to be innovative. You've got to be willing to adapt and adopt. And if you're not willing to adapt and adopt in anything in life, I just think it's a recipe for disaster. I mean, to think this, I mean, look at Airbnb, for instance. I mean, multiple different companies that are out there that did not exist up until like 2010, I think it was, if I got the date right. And, they came along, they disrupted that whole vacation industry, right? It wasn't like that. It was always get a hotel. It was always going to a resort. And then Airbnb, then people started opening up their homes and became a whole new way of life. And so, same with this business here, especially by 2030, you're going to have all the baby boomers will be 65 and above. We talk about the silver tsunami, talk about all these seniors. That's a reality. That's just not a data point. That's just not something to say that sounds good to get people enticed to reach out to me or to get in the industry. It's a fact. And so, are you going to be a part of the solution? Are you going to be a part of the people that are helping all these people that are turning 65 and above? Now, it doesn't mean when they're 65 and above, they're all going to need assisted living, but you know what? They're getting closer. And that generation, that population of seniors, man, it just outfars anything we've ever seen. So that's why you're seeing a bunch of senior living communities go up all over the place. That's why you're hearing about this industry. You're hearing about all kinds of different things that are shifting, like TSL. You're hearing other websites out there, other different services that are being provided. I think people are doing a great job with AI. I know some communities that use AI. I just, it's just becoming innovative, and they're streamlining some of this stuff. And the reason they're doing that is because there's so many seniors. How do you help them? And there's a tremendous shortage when it comes to caregivers. There's a tremendous shortage when it comes to people that want to work in this industry. You know what? There was a slight stigma to work in this industry before COVID, and then when COVID hit, oh my gosh, man, now it's even worse. Now it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get involved with that. What if COVID hits again? I mean, we're supposed to be 6 feet away wearing a mask, and then we're getting involved with the very population that was the most contagious at the time, right? At least we thought that. I think that, but whether that's scientifically true or not, don't know. But that's what we perceived. And so if some people are perceiving that, and that's what they're feeling, and that's what people base their decisions on a lot of times, right? Feelings. Come on, you do the same thing. I do the same thing. Gut feeling, things you feel, you're going to make a decision. I'm just here to tell you that if you are struggling, or you own a business and you want to add another business to what you're doing, another income stream, or you're a senior placement agent and you desire to expand your business and be like no one else in your territory, consider TSL. Just drop down, give me a comment. I'll reach out to you, or like I say, go on one of my other videos, because I'm doing it live as I'm driving to the dentist right now. And you can actually reach out to me. I'll let you know all about the software. We're only allowing one senior placement agent per territory. That is it. And the reason we're doing that is because we believe in a high touch service for seniors. We are an advocate for seniors. And so we're not about just getting people online and passing out personal, private information to everybody. That's not what we do. That's not what our company does, Senior Home Business. That's not what TSL does. We're all about helping seniors the best we can, one on one, but we need to expand. We need to help, because if you do it the old fashioned way, you're going to be limited. I don't care if you're doing 15, 20 move ins a month, you're going to max out. I mean, you can do it the old fashioned way, the traditional model. You'll be able to sustain your business, but more than likely, you'll not be able to scale your business. That's going to be the truth of it. True with any industry. You're just not going to be able to do it. And so you got to make a decision. I want to be in this industry. I'm going all in, and some people go into a business, especially like this, because I think a lot of people, when they come into this business, or at least a lot of people I talk to, I do have doctors, nurse practitioners, nurses, and a plethora of people that are professionals that have come into this industry and in our community, and they fully understand sometimes this business takes time. I do have a lot of testimonies of people that got their business up and going in no time flat. However, usually a business takes time, right? Realistically, go open up any retail store in your community, doing whatever you want to do, right? Selling whatever you want to sell. I doubt very seriously the day you open up your doors, you're just going to have customers flocking in through your business. Go open up, like maybe you're good at cutting hair. Go cut hair. Go open up a barbershop, beauty salon, and I doubt very seriously you're going to have hundreds of people waiting in line outside to get you to cut their hair, right? Usually it takes a little time to establish a brand, to establish who you are, develop trust. People got to know you. We teach you all that in the senior home business. We teach you what it is and how to do this business, but how to get known, because you've got to have attention on yourself. And I don't mean being like, bragging about yourself, but I mean people got to know you. I'm online quite a bit, because the more people hear from me, it develops more trust. The more people see me, they begin to understand, hey, I'm in the business. Can you imagine if I just suddenly one day stopped doing social media, stopped getting online? I think there'd be a fair amount of people that would just have forgotten about me, number one. But number two, if they did remember, they probably would think, man, where's that guy, that bald guy with sunglasses and Ray-Ban, and he's always talking about senior living. Don't hear from that guy anymore. He's probably out of business, right? He got sick, he died, or whatever you thought. But you got to continue to get attention on your business. And so if you want to get involved in the business, I'll be able to teach you how to do it. We've got a team that can help you. We've got the most comprehensive senior placement course in the country. We do all these different things. So, but if you want to get involved in the industry, you've got to be able to position yourself. I think that's so key in any business is positioning. And I don't think that's being taught quite a bit throughout the nation. At least I don't hear a whole lot of it. You know, a lot of it is just like I will talk about knowing the process, knowing key strategies, knowing lead generation, but it's sometimes just about positioning. You know, it's position yourself for success. In the senior living industry, if you get into it now, you are actually positioning yourself for success because the baby boomer deal is already in full effect. And you just look up any article, just go on Google, go on Chat GPT, go anywhere you want to go and just start talking about, you know, hey, how many seniors are going to need assisted living and, you know, the years to come, and, you know, what's the population of seniors, and just start asking these different questions. And you're going to see, and there's so much, the trajectory of this business is going to continue to go up. So it's a great time. So I would, you know, if you're considering about any business, think about positioning. Think about, does this business position me for success? Does this business position me in a place that I most likely will succeed? Because nobody can tell you they with full guarantee that you will succeed at anything in life. I mean, if someone says that, they're lying. Like I have people ask me sometimes, Matt, I mean, can you guarantee that I will have this business up and going in 30 to 60 days, making on average $10,000 to $20,000 a month? I can't guarantee any of that because I don't know the person. I don't know if they're going to apply themselves and go through the modules the way they should. I don't know if these individuals have the capability of being successful. I mean, I talk to them, we interview them like that. But now, if they're in my office and I was directly overseeing them, and they were doing what I was doing, I could guarantee their success because I know what I do and I know what I can do and I know what people know that I can do. But if I not around these individuals, there's no way I can, you know, guarantee success. And so there's nothing in life that will guarantee success, but there's plenty of things that you can do to position yourself for success. So whatever you're out to do in life, whatever you want to do, make sure that it has the best opportunity for you to succeed. Like I would not go start a business if I've done some research on the business and that business is declining, right? If it's the trajectory of the business seems like it's going down or it's plateauing, I probably wouldn't get involved in that business. I know I wouldn't. But and not just the senior living industry, there's other industries that are, you know, increasing as well. But it's just one area and it's what I specialize in. I can help you out. So hey, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I got to take off my sunglasses and put on my readers so I can actually shut this thing off because I can't even see the screen, I don't think, without these readers. But hey, thank you so much for being a part of this time. And if you want to know more about it, just reach out to me. I'm going into the dentist, getting the teeth clean and all that stuff. Necessary evil, right? Hey, until next time, God bless.